Good morning, ladies. Today is week 3, day 3. And Hannah titled today Mommy 911, but I really think this has to do with being an adult 911. So a lot of things might deal directly with children, but I think a lot of them deal directly with people that you deal with, just people in general. So the first thing she talks about is listening. So we should listen to what the other person has to say, whether or not it is what we would have to say. We need to have an open mind, and we need to really be able to understand where a person is coming from. So this works especially well with children because they always seem to think that their world is much smaller than the real world, and what they think is a big problem to us might seem insignificant, but it's really a big deal to them. So you need to listen so that you can come from a place of helpfulness instead of judgment. The second thing she says is to don't threaten. So don't threaten people with something that you're not going to stand up with. So again, I'm going to talk about kids. You know, when you tell your son that he can't have the Xbox if he doesn't do this, well, you need to take the Xbox away. You know, you can't threaten and then pretend that it never happened, because then all you're teaching the other person is that you don't do what you say you're going to do. And as we know, in order to be a true adult, in order to be an adult with integrity, you need to do what you say you're going to do. She also talks about not to allow consequences. So this is especially good with teenagers, but people need to learn what's going to happen if they fail. So failure is just a teachable moment. And although with kids we don't want them ever to fail, we need them to fail in order they can learn. This is a tough one for me, especially with Colin. Don't label. So when you label somebody before you even have an interaction with them, that's exactly the kind of interaction you're going to have. So if you go into some place thinking it's going to be a negative experience, you're going to have a negative experience. So I challenge you all to go into every situation positive. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a positive experience. Especially with children. I label my daughter because she drives me bananas. And know what she does every day? Drives me bananas. So I need to stop labeling her, labeling the situation that, and let her just be who she is, even though she's 13. Another thing she talks about, Hannah talks about, is to not try to solve the problem in the heat of the moment. So arguing gets you nowhere. And we all know that. You have to remember that the heat of the moment is exactly that. It's heated, it's excited, and no problems are going to be solved. You need to wait until the other person or yourself is calm and cool and collected before you try to discuss whatever the issue is. You need to be an adult. Don't stomp, slam doors, whine, cry, slam your feet, because imagine what you feel like when your kid does that, and if you don't want to do that. You know, anytime I whine and cry and huff and puff with Heath, he just laughs at me, and it's actually a laughable moment because you're behaving just like a child would behave, and that is not going to get you anywhere. So if you're upset, leave the room, go in the bathroom, cry your eyes out, but you need to get over it. You can't be all, I'm not getting my way, because you're not going to get your way that way. And then don't push limits, especially with children or even your husband or your significant other, and really anybody. Don't push it. If your kid doesn't want to play baseball anymore, don't make him play baseball anymore. No kid should be doing 4 sports and going to school and doing homework. There's not enough time in the day, and they're kids. They need to stay kids. But I would say don't push anybody's limits. Ease up a little. Just because it's not the way you would do it doesn't mean it's wrong. So that's all I got for today. Just a little adult 101. I need a lot of help in this area. So we got 3 exercises. The first one, in your journal, write down things that you need to change, or things you can tweak a little bit, or maybe things that could probably work out better if you change something. And then find a solution. It doesn't have to be a perfect solution, but just think about it and try to find some sort of solution. Number 2 is to reward good behavior. So anytime somebody does something really nice for you, just say thank you. When I was teaching high school, that's the first thing my mentor told me, was obviously not to ignore the bad behavior, but to doubly reward the good behavior. And then people would want to be rewarded for good behavior. Because when you yell at somebody or speak to somebody about the bad behavior, in some sense that might be a reward. So let's just try to reward and say thank you and really appreciate all the people that do nice things for you, and we'll have a much better world. And the third one is about the things we're trying to eliminate from our diet, or we're trying to improve our diets. So today we're going to talk about dairy. I talked about dairy the other day, about how it's a known inflammatory. It's the first thing you take out of your diet if you're having allergies or asthma or inflammation. So I'm going to challenge every one of you just to remove it for this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just get dairy out of your life. What's that, 4 days? Wednesday, Thursday. So 5 days. And then on Monday, then see how you feel. And if you feel perfectly fine, then you can go back to eating it. But I think many of you might be surprised at how much better you might feel. So, and if you do reintroduce it, I would introduce it slowly. Like I wouldn't go out and get a banana split, because dairy has such a great effect on people that they don't even know that, when you don't have it for a couple of days, then you go back to it, you might have problems. So have a good Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.